Hey YouTube, vamos amigos. What's up everybody, it's your boy Duke. Today is Monday, June 14th. We'll be previewing Tuesday's slate. It is a two-gamer from Group F, the Group of Death from the Euro 2020 tournaments, but we got to talk about today's slate as well. But before we do that, got to thank EliteFantasy.com for allowing us to bring you this video and everything else for the rest of the Euro 2020 group play into the knockout stages for free here on our YouTube page. All we ask of you is that you hit subscribe and then leave a like on the video. Awesome job beating the previous video. I think we got up to 13 likes. I'm looking for 15 likes today. So if you like what we have to say here, or maybe even if you don't, just do me a favor, hit that like button. It really helps us out. But we got to start here. This is a story that we talked about yesterday. It's the reason why we didn't have a video this weekend for the one day. Christian Eriksen obviously had an insane situation on the field. Thank God. It sounds like he's going to be okay. But I mentioned in yesterday's video, it was irresponsible. It was ridiculous that they made these players go out and play the game minutes after they see their friend die on the field. The Danish doctor said he was gone. Those are his words. And then just within an hour and a half, these guys are back on the field playing. We talked about the ramifications of that. Obviously, it could cost Denmark a place in the knockout stages. I think they're fine, but it could. And here we have Peter Schmeichel, of course, legendary goalkeeper and father of Danish goalkeeper Kasper Schmeichel, coming out and said they were left with three options. One was to play immediately, finish the 50 minutes. That's what happened. The next one was to come out the next day, Sunday, at 12 noon and finish the last 50 minutes. And the third option was to forfeit the game and lose 3-0. These are the three options that UEFA came up with. To play immediately after they literally saw their friend drop dead on the field. Simon Kjaer flipping him over, administering CPR, basically saved his life. Forfeit the game. 3-0 loss. Not only do you lose a teammate who's now healthy, thank God, you lose the game and your -3 goal differential. Those are two of the three options that they gave them. The clear solution was to go home that night, spend time with your family, gather yourself, confirm that Christian Eriksen's going to be okay, come back the next day and finish up the game. I don't care about logistics. I don't care about fans. Let the fans back in if you have to the following day with, proof of a ticket. Don't make them play that day. And certainly don't threaten a forfeit and a 3-0 loss. There shouldn't be three options. There should be one option. It was the right option. It was to delay, suspend, whatever you want to call it, postpone play until the following day and get the game in. Unbelievable information here from Peter Schmeichel. Unbelievable situation from UEFA to put them in this spot and to give the players a chance to go out and play when they really should not have been. But enough is enough. Hopefully we've all moved on from that. Thank God, like I said, Christian Eriksen sounds like he's going to be okay. We have a lot to get to today, so we'll keep thinking about him, but let's move on to today's action. A couple notes, and we'll go through my article here. This is up at EliteFantasy.com. It gets better from here, guys. Trust me, it gets better from here. But a couple notes. Scotland, Czech Republic. Obviously, Czech Republic wins 2-0. Number one, Daniel Seibert, the referee. I'm keeping an eye on this guy moving forward. 0 yellow cards in a very, very physical game. Did call 12 fouls, but honestly, there are probably 25, 30 fouls in the game. Really let the guys play. For Scotland, McTominay absolutely wasted, played far too deep, and then was moved even further back once they started making changes. Steve Clark made changes in the second half. Absolutely wasted as his talent in a back three or in a defensive center mid role. No Che Adams. I think that was a mistake from the start. He did come on, created a little bit of danger there for a 10-15 minute period, but Scotland were chasing the game at that point, right? A little bit too late. They still created way more chances. The expected goals for the game, Scotland 1.85, Czech Republic 0.85. Now, obviously, 2 goals. How can you have 2 goals and the expected goals of 0.85? Great question. One is you have a goalkeeper standing at the halfway line when Scotland's in possession, who then tries to recover, but he's 38 freaking years old, so Patrick Schick chips him from half field. All the love in the world. Great finish by Schick. What are you doing, goalkeeper? And then they had one big chance late where honestly about 0.4 of this 0.85 expected goals came from. really both of their goals. The first goal was a great header by Schick, but he's between two defenders, wasn't a great chance, just happened to go in. The shot from half field, outside of that, didn't create a ton until very, very late as Scotland were chasing the game. So I feel good about our plus 170 bet there. Scotland's got to make some adjustments if they want to stay in this tournament. I don't think it's going to happen. Poland versus Slovakia. Marek Hamšík, so good to see him back in that Slovakian lineup. He was brilliant today. Poland, far too defensive in the first half. Pattern of play was horrendous. Basically left their right and left back, Rybus, and the right wing back, with zero options other than to turn their body and face back from where it came from and play negative football the entire day. Rybus had a little bit more success down the left side there. Obviously picked up the assist, but horrible tactics in the first half. And I've been telling everyone who will listen, Paulo Sousa, this is not the job for him. It's too big of a job for him. He's a fraud as a manager. And I thought it would be exposed in games 2 and 3 in group play, but here they are losing to Slovakia, and essentially their best chance to take points from the rest of this tournament. They might finish on 0. Lewandowski largely irrelevant, invisible today. Zielinski was okay in spots, but too much talent for how poorly they played today. Now, how about Spain versus Sweden? Let's see. Pedri played the entire game, 18 years old. We had 5 substitutions that were made, and he stayed on the field. Seemed crazy to me, but these statistics are wild. 917 passes for Spain, just 161 for Sweden. 85% possession, 17 shots for Spain. And again, we go back to the expected goals. 2.07 goals for Spain and just 1.17 for Sweden, which is actually pretty good considering they only had the ball for, 15% of the time. Isak obviously was dangerous the entire game. And look, the way the Spain plays, they're going to give up some big chances. I should say the chances that they do give up are going to be big chances. So it's not crazy to see that expected goals there. But we got to start with Alvaro Morata. What are you doing, my man? Misses a sitter in the first half, has a decent chance in the second half, doesn't even hit the target. He may have just cost himself a chance to play for what could be the eventual champions here in Spain. They can figure some things out here in the final third. Kind of like goalies in NHL hockey. You want the hot hand going into the playoffs. This is the playoffs. Everything is an elimination game at this point in the Euros. Can they trust Morata moving forward? Lewandowski, you see here, the price is almost too high to pay off. Torres was a bit chalky, more of a cash play. Adams didn't start, so he's out. And then Patrick Schick with his 2 goals comes in at essentially 4th here. And as we talked about in the chat room before kickoff, someone we had a little bit more interest in without Che Adams. Down with the midfielders, Zielinski scored well. Olmo, popular, scored well. Koke was a top 3, I think, midfielder. And there's Marek Hamšík as well. So our top 4 midfielders did extremely well. Defender, Andy Robertson, Kufal, and Jordi Alba. 3 top defenders. Laporte was in there as a super cheap option. Didn't do poorly. I think he's finished with 6.2 points on DraftKings. Overall, a fine play there for a little bit of salary relief. And then goalkeepers. Robin Olsen stood on his head. Finished with 15 points, if I'm not mistaken. Nearly 4x. Szczesny, as you can see, they do concede silly goals. Be careful. I liked him the most out of the high-end goalkeepers for the upside and the ownership. We warned everyone about this before the game. I ended up playing him in cash, believe it or not. Didn't work out well for me. But then our boy, our Czech keeper, 4.8 was the highest scorer on the slate. So 2 of the top 3 on my list were the top 2 highest goal scorers or goalkeepers on the slate. Combine that with Hradecki the first day, and we're absolutely smashing the goalkeeper. So if you're interested in the daily fantasy side of things, make sure you go over to elitefantasy.com and get signed up. If you want to talk about some betting things, let's talk about Hungary and Portugal. Great matchup. Portugal is the big favorite, minus 215, and you see my bet there. A little preview. 3-5-1-2. It's really a 3-5-2, basically. 3-5-2, right? 3-4-1-2, 3-5-2, essentially. But really what it is 7-1-2. They defend with 7, a back line with Gulácsi and Orban, who have the familiarity from being at Leipzig, and their strong back 3 wing backs who are really fullbacks, and then 2 defensive center midfielders here. Try to stabilize on the back end, and what they get going forward is what they get. Whatever. How about the front 3 for Portugal? So much talent within this squad that someone like João Felix, who just won La Liga with Atletico Madrid, doesn't even make the first 11. And then what they do here, I think, is going to be the interesting piece. And this game does kick off at 12. We'll have team news at 11 a.m. here in the U.S. on the East Coast. I hope they do something like this. William Carvalho, Danilo Pereira, whoever it is, one defensive center mid, one box-to-box with João Moutinho, and then, of course, Bruno Fernandes is an automatic in the first 11 here. With how little threat that Hungary is going to present to Portugal, I hope they don't go with two defensive center midfielders here. Pereira and Carvalho just seems like it's too defensive. Guerrero, very good going forward. Ruben Diaz, player of the year in the Premier League. And then Fonts or Pepe could start here at this other center back role. Either one. Hugely experienced, hugely talented still, even at an advanced age. And then Semedo can get up and down the right wing here. So the tough part for Hungary is they haven't really played any teams that are close to Portugal's level, or Germany or France or anything like that. So we look at common opponents who are better than Hungary, but not quite up to the snuff. And they've only had a few here in the last couple years. Poland is one, who we just saw today. That game finished 3-3, tied with Hungary. Scored 3 goals, conceded 3 goals. Then they played Russia. Russia, again, is ranked higher than Hungary, not anywhere near Portugal. Russia won 3-2. They scored 2, they concede 3. They played Uruguay. Uruguay won 2-1, score 1, concede 2. They played Croatia. Croatia won 3-0. And look, they did play them just a little bit before that. They won 2-1, but again, they conceded in that game. My point being, when they play upper echelon teams, they concede goals. And how they got to this point was by keeping clean sheets and keeping low scoring games. Their goal from this game is going to be 1 point. Get out of here with a draw. 1-1, 0-0 would be ideal, which we just saw for the first time in this tournament with Spain and Sweden. If they could draw it up exactly like Sweden did, they would build a statue for the manager of Hungary at the end of this game. I don't see it happening. Let's look at common opponents here. Luxembourg is a bit harsh. Okay, Hungary's better than Luxembourg, but I'm going to show you what I mean. Number one, we do have the 2 defensive center midfielders. Sanchez, I guess, could be more box-to-box in that Moutinho role, but Neves very much a defensive center midfielder. Felix did start here in place of Bruno Fernandes, Silva, Jota, and then Mendes. This will be Guerrero, we assume, on Tuesday morning. Let's look at the heat map. Very much down this left side here, which is what they like to do. Guerrero's going to get around the side. Jota can tuck in or stay very wide if Guerrero comes inside, kind of plays inverted a little bit. But they're going to have their width, and they're going to play through this left side here. Bernardo Silva will then come in off his, onto his left foot from the right side. And Semedo's a bit more defensive than Guerrero. So I expect a very similar heat map, to be honest, in this match here. And you notice it extends all the way into the box. Tons of possession outside of their own box, passing it around the back and through the midfield, but mostly getting it wide and getting balls in the box for Ronaldo and knockdowns for Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, whoever. 3-1 you see is the final score here. The possession wasn't out of control, 749 to 603 in terms of touches. If we go back to the match center here, 20 shots. That's the big thing. I think there's going to be chance after chance after chance for Portugal here. It's just how good of a chance are they creating. 87% successful pass rate, I think is going to be very similar on Tuesday morning as well. Again, a lot of passes around the back here, but more so safe around the left side and then getting balls in the box to Ronaldo. Now let's go over to Hungary, a similar match that I could find with a heat map. Look, Turkey's not in the same class as Portugal. I'm going to say that over and over again. But here's a match that Hungary won 2-0, relatively similar touches, but have a look at the heat map. See where all the possession is? A lot of goal kicks, a lot of chances from Turkey. That didn't hit the target, obviously, but a lot of goal kicks and a lot of these little triangles. And that's why you see this triangle here and this triangle here. Well, even if we go to this, let's say we have Ronaldo up here, we have Bernardo Silva here, and we have Jota here. We're 3v1. We're 3v1. This is where it's easy to keep possession. Let your legs relax a little bit, catch your breath. This is where you can keep possession. It really just depends on how high this Portugal line starts, especially if we're talking about a line that's, we'll say 15 yards outside of the box. Let's get all these guys out of here. Get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. So let's say a more realistic, let's say we've on a goal kick here, we're going wide, going wide, and then one's here. So if we play it out of the back and then it comes to here to Hungary, and then their left wing backs here and their defensive center mids here, and we're 3v1. Like, this is easy possession. This is what Hungary's going to have to do in order to not be defending for 90 minutes. And so they're going to have some possession here, but inevitably, once they get into this range, who do they have that's going to be the difference maker against this back four and one of, hopefully, Pereira and Carvalho? I just don't see it. I don't see them creating a ton of chances. And so that's why I think this heat map is relevant. Here's a game they won 2-0. Look at where they were. They had no chances, essentially. They had no possession in this final third. A little bit of success down their right wing here, which could happen again. They're going to play the channels. But look where all their possession is. And I think we're going to see very similar heat maps. And if we were to overlap these, which I don't have the technology to do, look at where all the possession is here for Portugal. So this is going to be one-way action, in my opinion. I have Portugal -1, -1.5. We talked about them conceding 3 goals to Poland, 3 goals to Russia, 3 goals to Croatia. We've seen scoring down a little bit, especially in the first half, but the stronger teams come on later in the game. We think about Italy, Belgium. We could see a similar situation here where the levee doesn't quite break for Hungary early, but then in the second half, as the pressure mounts, goals start to flow. Remember, if Portugal wins by 1 goal, we push half, we lose half of our bet. If they win by 2 or more, we win both. That is our goal. 3-0 would be fantastic. Just give me 2-0. Let's get out of here. That's how I see the game going. Now let's talk about the game of the first round. France v. Germany. It should be noted this game's going to be played in Munich. It is a home game for the Germans. I wrote in a previous article, I don't know if that's good or bad, because if it's not going great for the Germans, the whistles are going to come out. The pressure's going to be on Yogi Low to make some changes, and it could be a tough 90 minutes. But they have talent, and they're starting to build a little bit of confidence here. If we start looking at the tactical breakdown, 4 across the back. This is a new formation for both teams, right? Germany's gone to the 3 in the back. Solidity through the middle with Gundogan and Cruz. Kimmich, who can obviously come inside and play in the middle like he does for Bayern, but likely starts at that right wing back role. Gosens, who's just nonstop energy and attacking verve down the left side here. And then this 3, the trident here at the top, Muller, Gnabry, and Havertz. And I can see Gnabry playing here and Muller up front as kind of like a false 9, if you will, which typically only happens in possession, but I think he'll be kind of the point of the attack, and then they'll be rotating through these 3. These will be the key as far as Germany's attack. Forget all this. This is all for defensive solidity against the likes of Benzema, Mbappe, Griezmann, Pogba, Pavard. And we'll talk about that here in the tactical setup. But likely going to be a back 4. I don't know if Tolisso will start, if it'll be Rabiot. Conte is going to be through the middle regardless of which 3 are in there. Pogba off the left side, who can provide some width, especially with Hernandez being a little limited going forward. Then Mbappe working the channels. Benzema posting up as this number 9. And Griezmann just looking for space underneath. The line as it stands is basically a pick'em. We have France at +170, Germany +180, and a total sitting at 2.5. These first half totals, man, are giving me fits. Giving me fits. How did Spain not score in the first half? So I'm not touching that. But I do like the over, as you'll see here, and we'll talk about a couple different things. So here's our basic setup, right? 3 across the back, Hummels, Rudiger, Ginter, Kimmich, and Gosens over here. In possession, we'll say. Mbappe is going to always be looking to test this back line. Make Ginter make a decision. Does he drop deep? Does he come in here? Does he work off Benzema, who's going to be here? And Griezmann is going to be playing basically everywhere, all around the attacking third. He has that freedom within this system to do whatever the hell he wants. And the beauty of Conte is it also unlocks Pogba a little bit. Does he want to drift wide? Does he want to push forward in this gap left by Griezmann? Does he want to drop deep? Conte is there to do the job of 2, sometimes 3 people and break things up. And so it unlocks Pogba. It unlocks Griezmann as well, because Conte can he basically covers this area. Okay, he basically covers this area. Okay, he basically covers it. But realistically, he covers this entire box through the entire middle of the field. And so he allows those 3 to get creative. But the reason why I think Pavard is going to be the key here, and let's just assume it's Tolisso who starts, is we have our 2 center backs here. Hernandez isn't going to push as far forward. He's going to be more hanging around the back. So this will be the 3, essentially. They like to pass the ball between these 3 to try to switch possession, and Pogba can drift wide a little bit. But as the ball swings around, I think we're going to see a ton of action on the wings. Because if we go back to our standard setup with Pogba inside and Tolisso, let's just say it's a standard back four. Look at this. This is extremely congested through the midfield, and that's exactly what Yogi Löw wants. And look, Havertz and Gnabry will say aren't going to drop back into like a back 10, but they are going to be inside their own half, and they are going to try to eliminate easy passes into these two players, Pogba and Tolisso, we'll call it. And that's going to force this ball wide. And that's where the likes of Pavard and then here Griezmann finding these little channels. The ball goes into here, and then we make another run in behind. The ball comes here, and we're playing a pass in to a near post run from Benzema, and then a follow run from Mbappe, and then Pogba's here cleaning up. It's going to be something similar to that because essentially it's extremely tight playing through the middle. And bring Pavard back here. This is going to have to be so intricate between these 5 players, we'll call it. And these aren't bums. We're talking about Toni Kroos, Gundogan, Ginter stepping in, Hummels, Rudiger. And while France typically do like to combine with their front 2 or 3, Griezmann, Mbappe, and Benzema assist each other more than anyone else, I think Pavard's going to be the key to unlocking this defense of Germany. Problem is, it's really, really strong. And I think Germany is going to attack. So what we're looking for here is goals potentially from both teams, because once we do hit the break, as we see if Hernandez is here and Pavard is here, once Germany wins possession here, we're off to the races. And Havertz has been fantastic in this new formation with combining, which he's familiar with at his club, Chelsea, combining with the forward, making runs in behind, working off, playing it through here. Gnabry obviously is the one with the pace. He's going to be looking, as soon as Havertz gets the ball, looking for this one over the top to Gnabry to then chase in and Muller work underneath. I think there's going to be tons and tons of chances for both of these teams. Let's be specific about that. I think we see double-digit shots from both teams. I think France will have a slight edge. I think France will have anywhere from 58 to 64% of possession. So they'll have the edge, but not a massive one. And I think they'll have a shot edge as well. But the quality of chances is going to be interesting because Germany's going to be playing 3v3 a lot of times as a transition from defense to attack. And I think they have the talent up front with Havertz, Gnabry, and Thomas Muller, who's like Griezmann a little bit, where he puts that German uniform on and becomes a new player, especially in big tournaments. I think these guys are going to cause them some damage. I think there's a little bit of value on France to win it. I'm not going to take that. I like the over 2.5. And I actually like both teams to score in this match, minus 125. I don't know if I'll put that in the bet pack on elitesportsbetting.com or not. But if you want to just say, okay, if you like both of those, then why don't you just take plus 140? Both teams to score, yes, and over 2.5. I think that's a decent bet there. And that'd be the one I'll put a unit on, plus 140. So we have Portugal minus 1, minus 1.5. And then that's even money. And then we have both teams to score and over 2.5. Either team can honestly win. Germany defending home turf is going to think 1 point at a minimum is where they should be. Probably push on for the 3 points there. France, they're the world champs, right? They're going to think 3 points every time they step on the field. So from that standpoint, it's going to be a fascinating matchup. Of course, my article is going to be out tonight. I think it actually just got posted already. If you want to take a chance over on elitefantasy.com, hit me up on Twitter at DukeDFS. Shoot me a DM, which are open, and we'll see if we can't get you a deal. If you haven't yet, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit a thumbs up if you like what I had to see here today. Hopefully we get a couple winners. 2 bets, technically 4 if you want to play all of these, but 2 bets that hopefully get us on the right side of things. Last 2 games of the first round of group play, starting on Wednesday, we flip it back again and run it back with Italy, Turkey, and a whole other host of teams. I am Duke. This is the Elite Sports Network. We'll be back tomorrow. Adios. Thanks so much for tuning in.